The grand assembly of the Galactic Confederation hummed with anticipation. The massive chamber, carved from living crystal, and suspended in the heart of the Perseus Arms diplomatic station, held representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations. Today's session promised something special. First contact with a new species that had achieved faster-than-light travel. High Admiral Zextal of the Centaurian Empire stood at the central podium, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's soft light. Esteemed colleagues, his translated voice resonated through the chamber. Our long-range scouts have detected a new civilization entering interstellar space. They call themselves humans. The holoprojector activated, displaying images of Earth's first interstellar vessels. Immediate laughter rippled through the assembly. The ships were unlike anything the galactic community had ever seen. Small, compact vessels barely a quarter the size of standard cruisers. Surely these are scout ships, called out Ambassador Ithrill of the Meridian Collective, their tentacles rioting in amusement. Where are their proper warships? Zextal's crystalline form flickered in what passed for amusement among his kind. These are their warships, honored colleagues. Their largest vessel, what they call a carrier, is smaller than our diplomatic shuttles. Fresh waves of laughter echoed through the chamber. Several representatives were recording the images, no doubt to share this entertainment with their homeworlds. The notion that any species would attempt interstellar travel in such diminutive vessels seemed absurd to the assembled dignitaries. In the shadows of the upper gallery, a figure watched silently. Commander Sarah Chen of Earth's First Contact Division had arrived early, choosing to observe the Confederation's reaction before making humanity's official entrance. Her weathered face remained impassive as she watched the assembled aliens mock Earth's fleet, but her dark eyes missed nothing. How do they even fit life support in such tiny shells? Another representative called out. Do they stack their crew like cargo? Chen's hand brushed against the neural interface at her temple, standard equipment for all human military personnel. Through it, she could feel the quiet presence of Araya, Earth's advanced resource intelligence array, gathering data on every species present, analyzing their reactions, and updating humanity's first contact protocols in real time. The laughter continued as Zextal displayed more images. They have requested full membership in the Confederation, he announced, his tone dripping with condescension. While they barely meet our technological prerequisites, I suppose we should encourage their development. Chen checked her chronometer. Right on schedule. She straightened her midnight blue uniform and activated her grav assists, preparing to make humanity's entrance. As she did, she noticed something interesting. Not everyone was laughing. In the lower tiers, several of the older representatives, veterans of countless first contact scenarios, watched the images with calculating eyes. The platform descended smoothly, bringing Chen to the chamber floor. The laughter died gradually as representatives noticed the small figure among them. She stepped forward, her movements precise and controlled despite the various gravity fields generated by the assembled aliens. Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Confederation, her voice carried clearly through the chamber, amplified by systems far more advanced than anything the Confederation had detected in Earth's ships. I am Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earth Fleet. Thank you for your entertaining response to our vessels. The silence was absolute now. Being caught mocking a species' first representatives was considered a severe diplomatic faux pas, even among the Confederation's often fractious members. Chen smiled, a small expression that didn't quite reach her eyes. However, I feel I should correct a misunderstanding in High Admiral Zextal's presentation. She gestured to the displayed images of Earth's ships. These vessels you've been studying. They're not our warships. They're our deep space research vessels, equipped for scientific exploration. A murmur ran through the chamber. Zextal's crystalline form clouded slightly. But our scans detected exactly what we wanted them to detect. Chen finished smoothly. On Earth, we have a saying. Never judge a book by its cover. Perhaps in time, You'll understand why we choose to build our ships the way we do." As she took her assigned seat, Chen noticed the older representatives exchanging knowing looks. They had seen this before, species that appeared primitive at first glance, only to reveal hidden depths. Humanity was about to teach the Confederation some valuable lessons about appearances and assumptions. In the darkness of space beyond the diplomatic station, Earth's true fleet waited silently, their advanced stealth systems making them invisible to even the Confederation's most sophisticated sensors. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the smallest packages contained the biggest surprises. Beneath the surface, 6 months after Earth's introduction to the Galactic Confederation, Commander Chen sat in her office aboard the diplomatic station, reviewing the latest intelligence reports. The room was small by Confederation standards, but it served its purpose perfectly, just like everything else humans designed. Through her neural interface, Araya presented a stream of data gathered from across Confederation space. The massive alien ships that had once seemed so impressive now revealed their vulnerabilities to her trained eye. Oversized power cores that leaked radiation signatures, sluggish response times due to light lag between bridge and engineering, predictable patrol patterns born of centuries of unchallenged supremacy. "Commander," a soft voice interrupted her analysis. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's chief xenotechnology researcher, entered the office carrying a holographic tablet. "You need to see this." The hologram sprang to life, showing footage from one of their hidden observation posts. A Meridian collective battleship was attacking a small trading vessel from one of the Confederation's minor species. The massive ship's weapons blazed, its captain secure in the knowledge that no one would dare challenge the collective's inspection of suspected smugglers. "Third incident this week," Maya noted, her dark eyes troubled. "The collective's getting bolder since the Centaurians backed their expansion claims." Chen nodded slowly. The Confederation's power dynamics were shifting. The larger species, emboldened by humanity's apparently primitive technology, were beginning to prey on their smaller neighbors more openly. "They still think we're harmless," Chen mused, watching the footage again. "Have you completed the analysis I requested?" Maya's expression brightened. "Yes, and it's fascinating. Their shield harmonics are based on a completely linear progression. They never considered that someone might." She paused, noticing Chen's raised eyebrow. "Right, sorry. The short version. Their defenses have massive blind spots. They're so focused on stopping big energy weapons that they never develop protection against smaller, precisely targeted attacks." Through her neural interface, Chen sent a secure burst transmission to Earth Command. The response came almost instantly. "Continue as planned. Matrix Protocol remains in effect." The Matrix Protocol was humanity's master strategy. Appear weak where you are strong. Appear primitive where you are advanced. While the Confederation laughed at Earth's tiny ships, humanity's quantum factories worked in secret, producing technologies that would revolutionize space warfare. "How are the diplomatic initiatives progressing?" Chen asked, switching topics. Maya pulled up another report. "Better than expected. The smaller species are surprisingly receptive. The Archeran Federation, the Lysithian Alliance, and even the Proxima Collective. They're all tired of being bullied by the larger powers. They're very interested in our primitive technology." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Confederation's dismissal of human engineering had created the perfect cover for building a network of allies among the supposedly minor species. While the great powers focused on the size of their ships, humanity was teaching their new friends about efficiency, precision, and innovation. In the station's diplomatic quarter, Ambassador Ythril of the Meridian Collective was hosting another lavish reception. The massive chamber echoed with laughter as representatives traded jokes about Earth's toy-like vessels. None of them noticed the small maintenance drones, human design, of course, quietly mapping every detail of their ship's communication systems. Deep in the asteroid fields at the edge of Confederation space, Earth's research vessels continued their work. The Confederation's sensors registered them as simple mining operations, never detecting the quantum cores and advanced weapons hidden beneath their modest exteriors. Every scan that dismissed them as primitive added another layer to humanity's deception. Commander Chen finished her review and stood up, walking to the viewport. Outside, massive Confederation ships moved ponderously through space, their crews never questioning their technological superiority. They had forgotten one of the most important lessons of history. True power doesn't need to advertise itself. Send word to the fleet, she told Maya. Tell them to maintain current protocols, but be ready. The collective's getting aggressive, and sooner or later, someone's going to need our help. And when that happens, Maya asked. Chen's reflection in the viewport smiled grimly. Then the Confederation learns why humanity never built bigger ships. We never needed to. As if to emphasize her words, a human diplomatic shuttle passed by the window, its small frame dwarfed by the surrounding alien vessels. Inside that shuttle, packed into spaces the Confederation would consider impossibly small, were technologies that would redefine the balance of power in the galaxy. But for now, humanity would wait, watch, and prepare. The greatest deception, after all, was convincing your opponent they had nothing to fear from you, right until the moment they learned otherwise. Breaking point. The Archeran colony world of New Haven burned. Massive Meridian collective warships hung in orbit like dark stars, their weapon ports glowing with barely contained energy. Below, the colony's meager defensive platforms crumbled under sustained bombardment. In the Confederation assembly, emergency signals flashed across every display as New Haven's desperate calls for help echoed through the chamber. Commander Chen stood at the diplomatic podium, her face a mask of careful neutrality as she watched the attack unfold. Beside her, the Archeran representative, a being of living crystal named Ixtel, trembled with barely contained rage. The collective claims jurisdiction over this sector, High Admiral Ixtel announced from his elevated position. They are merely asserting their rightful authority over suspected smuggling operations. There are 3 million civilians on New Haven. Ixtel's voice cracked with emotion. This is not law enforcement, it's conquest. Through her neural interface, Chen received continuous updates from Araya. The A's analysis confirmed what she already suspected. The collective had been planning this attack for months. New Haven's strategic position made it perfect for controlling trade routes through the sector. Would any power like to formally object to the collective's actions? Sextal asked, his crystalline form gleaming with satisfaction. The chamber remained silent. None of the major powers wanted to challenge the collective's massive fleet. Chen's hand touched her communications device. A single command would launch Operation Avalon. The response humanity had been preparing for exactly this type of situation. But timing was crucial. Earth registers its objection, she declared, her clear voice cutting through the silence. A ripple of amusement passed through the chamber. Several representatives didn't even bother to hide their smirks. Commander Chen, the collective's ambassador, a towering being of metallic scales named Vexthivor, turned to face her. While we appreciate Earth's concern, what exactly do you propose to do? Send your tiny research vessels to investigate. Chen smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Actually, Ambassador, we intend to stop you. The chamber erupted in laughter. Even some of the smaller species, who had been quietly working with humanity, looked concerned. The collective's fleet at New Haven numbered over 50 capital ships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever publicly displayed. Commander, Vexthor's voice dripped with condescension. I would hate to see your primitive vessels get damaged in a situation that doesn't concern them. Perhaps you should focus on learning how real spacefaring civilizations conduct their affairs. Chen's smile never wavered. Araya, execute Avalon Protocol. Authorization, Chen Alpha 7. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the chamber's main display erupted with new signals. In the space around New Haven, ships began appearing. Human ships. They seemed to materialize from nowhere, their advanced stealth systems finally revealing what they had hidden. The laughter died as the representatives counted the signals. 20, 50, 100 ships, each one small by Confederation standards, but moving with a precision and coordination that seemed impossible. Meridian Collective Forces, a new voice cut through all communication channels. This is Captain David Santos of the Earth Defense Force. You are engaged in an illegal attack on civilian targets. Stand down immediately. On the tactical display, the human ships moved into attack formation. They flowed like water around the massive collective vessels, their movements synchronized with an accuracy that suggested neural-linked crews working in perfect harmony. You dare, Vex Thor sputtered. Your entire fleet couldn't dent one of our cruisers. We will crush your pathetic vessels like insects. The first collective ship fired, its massive energy weapon cutting through space where 3 human vessels had been a moment before. But they weren't there anymore. The smaller ships moved with impossible agility, evading the blast as if they had known it was coming. Then humanity revealed why they built small ships. The first human strike was surgical. Quantum torpedoes, too small for collective sensors to track effectively, slipped through gaps in their shield harmonics. Point defense systems, calibrated to stop massive energy weapons, couldn't adjust to these tiny, precise attacks. Impossible. Vex Thor shouted as the tactical display showed one of his mighty warships going dark, its main power core disabled by targeted strikes to vulnerabilities the collective didn't even know they had. Chen watched calmly as the battle unfolded. Human ships danced between the lumbering collective vessels, striking with precision rather than power. HFY coordinated their movements, turning the entire fleet into a single organism, each ship moving in perfect concert with the others. As I tried to tell you months ago, Chen addressed the stunned chamber. Size isn't everything. Humanity learned long ago that efficiency and precision matter more than brute force. We built small ships not because we had to, but because they're better. On the display, the battle for New Haven continued. The galaxy was about to learn why you should never mistake kindness for weakness, or human ingenuity for primitive technology. Paradigm shift. The Confederation Assembly watched in stunned silence as humanity's true capabilities unfolded before them. On the massive tactical display, the battle for New Haven had become a masterclass in modern warfare. Target their primary shield generators, Captain Santos commanded, his neural link allowing instantaneous communication with the entire human fleet. Precision strikes only. No unnecessary damage. The human ships moved like a swarm of deadly dancers, each vessel anticipating the other's movements with perfect accuracy. HFY's quantum processors coordinated their attacks with microsecond precision, exploiting weaknesses in collective defenses that their massive ships couldn't adapt to quickly enough. This is impossible. Vex Thor raged from his position in the assembly chamber. Our sensors show your weapons are barely a fraction of our power output. How are you penetrating our shields? Commander Chen stepped forward, her voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. Power isn't everything, Ambassador. Your shields are designed to withstand massive energy weapons, but they're virtually blind to precisely calibrated quantum strikes. Sometimes a scalpel works better than a sledgehammer. The tactical display told the story. Another collective battleship went dark, its systems disabled by carefully targeted attacks that exploited previously unknown vulnerabilities. The human ships never destroyed their targets. They simply rendered them helpless with surgical precision. Our ships are neural-linked, Chen explained to the transfixed assembly. Every crew member connected through HFY, our AI tactical system, while your massive ships suffer from light lag between bridge and engineering. Our vessels think and move as one. A new signal appeared on the tactical display. The collective's flagship, a behemoth nearly 3 kilometers long, was preparing its main weapon, a gravitational pulse cannon capable of destroying small moons. You want to see power? Vex Thor snarled. Watch what real warships can do. The massive weapon fired, its energy signature lighting up every sensor in the system. But the human fleet was already moving, their formation shifting like quicksilver. As the gravitational pulse passed through the space they had occupied, the smaller ships executed a maneuver that should have been physically impossible. Quantum inversion drives. Dr. Maya Patel's voice came through Chen's neural link. Ready to demonstrate. Chen nodded. Show them. The human ships suddenly shifted, their drives creating localized quantum fields that bent space itself. The collective's massive energy weapon didn't just miss. It was redirected, its own power used against it. The gravitational pulse curved through space like a boomerang, dispersing harmlessly into the void. By the first stars, an elder representative whispered, "They've mastered quantum field manipulation." The assembly erupted in shocked murmurs. Quantum field technology had been theorized but never successfully implemented. Until now, the implications were staggering. "This is why we build small ships," Chen addressed the chamber. "Quantum field manipulation requires precise control. The larger the vessel, the more difficult it becomes to maintain quantum coherence. Your massive warships could never utilize this technology. They're simply too big." On the tactical display, the battle was reaching its conclusion. The human fleet had systematically disabled every collective vessel without destroying a single one. Their precision strikes had protected New Haven's civilian population, while demonstrating a level of technological sophistication that the Confederation had never imagined. "The collective's forces are neutralized," Captain Santos reported. "All ships disabled, but life support systems remain intact. Archeran medical ships can begin evacuation of wounded colonists." Chen turned to face Vex Thor. "Ambassador, I suggest you order any remaining collective forces to stand down. Earth is officially extending its protection to New Haven and all other worlds threatened by aggressive expansion." "You can't do this," Vex Thor protested, but his voice lacked conviction. "The Confederation will have to adapt," Chen interrupted. "The era of might makes right is over. Earth and our allies are establishing a new doctrine, mutual defense through superior innovation." As if to emphasize her words, the tactical display showed more ships decloaking, vessels from the smaller species that humanity had been secretly working with. Their ships had been modified with human technology, small but deadly, moving with the same precision as Earth's fleet. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted in a single battle. But as Chen watched the assembly's reactions, she knew this was just the beginning. Humanity hadn't just won a fight, they had revolutionized the very nature of space warfare. A new dawn. 1 month after the Battle of New Haven, the Galactic Confederation gathered for what would become known as the Unity Summit. The massive assembly chamber looked different now. The towering seats of the major powers no longer dominated the space. The chamber had been redesigned, all representatives seated at equal height. Commander Chen stood at the central podium, but this time she wasn't alone. Representatives from the former minor species stood with her, their worlds now protected by a network of advanced defense systems that made size and brute force irrelevant. "The age of intimidation is over," Chen addressed the assembly. "Earth proposes a new Confederation charter, one based on innovation and cooperation rather than size and military might." The holographic display activated, showing footage from across Confederation space. Smaller species were rapidly adopting human technology, their ships becoming faster, more efficient, more deadly. The quantum drives that had once seemed impossible were now spreading, changing everything from warfare to trade. "Impossible," High Admiral Zextol muttered, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. His own fleet, once the pride of the Centaurian Empire, suddenly seemed outdated, vulnerable. "Nothing is impossible." Dr. Maya Patel stepped forward, her dark eyes bright with enthusiasm. "That's what humanity learned long ago. We didn't build small ships because we couldn't build big ones. We built them because we never stopped questioning, never stopped innovating." The display shifted, showing the new defense network being established around formerly vulnerable worlds. Quantum field generators created overlapping protective barriers. Swarms of compact, neural-linked vessels patrolled trade routes that had once been hunting grounds for larger predatory powers. The Meridian Collective withdraws its territorial claims, Ambassador Vexthor announced, his once proud voice subdued. The Battle of New Haven had shattered more than just his fleet's reputation. We request assistance in modernizing our forces. Chen nodded, remembering humanity's own history. Earth is willing to share our technology with all species who commit to the new charter. Size stopped mattering in warfare centuries ago on our world. It's time the galaxy learned the same lesson. The assembly erupted in discussion. Representatives who had once laughed at Earth's tiny ships now crowded forward, eager to establish diplomatic relations. The same beings who had dismissed humanity as primitive were suddenly desperate to learn their secrets. They still don't fully understand, do they? Maya whispered to Chen as they watched the political maneuvering unfold. Chen smiled slightly. No, they think it's just about the technology. They haven't realized that our real strength comes from something else entirely. Through her neural link, Chen felt Arai's presence, connecting her to every human ship and crew member in the sector. The AI didn't just coordinate their vessels, it represented humanity's greatest achievement. The ability to work together, to connect, to think beyond the obvious solution. The Confederation will adapt, Chen continued. Some species will cling to their massive ships, their shows of force. But the smart ones, they'll learn what humanity learned long ago. And what's that? Asked Ixtel, the Arcaran representative who had watched their world saved by Earth's intervention. That true power isn't about size or strength, Chen replied. It's about innovation, efficiency, and most importantly, the wisdom to know when not to use that power at all. As if to emphasize her words, a human diplomatic vessel passed by the assembly station's main viewport. To the watching aliens, it still looked small, almost delicate compared to their massive ships. But now they saw it differently, not as a sign of weakness, but as proof that appearances meant nothing. In the space lanes across the Confederation, trade resumed. Ships of all sizes moved through the quantum corridors that Earth had helped establish, their journeys safer and faster than ever before. The larger powers were learning to coexist with their smaller neighbors, finding that cooperation yielded better results than intimidation. The galaxy was changing, evolving into something new. And it had all started because a group of species had looked at humanity's small ships and laughed, never suspecting that their mockery would lead to their own revolution. In her office aboard the diplomatic station, Commander Chen filed her final report on the transformation of the Confederation. Through her viewport, she could see ships of all species adopting the new designs, smaller, faster, more efficient. The future had arrived, and it had come in a package far smaller than anyone had expected. Sometimes, she reflected, the biggest changes come in the smallest forms. Humanity had proven that size didn't matter. Vision, innovation, and determination did. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.